أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on homeschooling and ChatGPT. So I'll be your host today. So I'll introduce myself first, and then I'll introduce what this webinar is all about. So my name is Shoaib Ahmed Malik. I was born and raised in Kuwait. I've been in the Middle East for 28 years. But for my studies, I went to the UK. I did my science qualifications in chemical engineering, and then I went back to the UAE. Before university, I was in Kuwait, and after my university, I went back to the UAE. I was a professor there of natural sciences, so physics, chemistry, mostly chemistry-related subjects. And I just moved literally a couple of days ago to the UK again. I am now permanently in Scotland, Edinburgh. For those of you who know the Loch Ness, I'm in the home of Loch Ness, right? So I just moved here a few days ago, and I'm just kind of still settling down. So if you see a mess behind me, please do forgive me. I'm still kind of settling down. So that's me. That's a little bit about me. I've been an instructor at Al Balagh Academy, mashallah, for the past 6 years now. And we're very excited to announce a new course that we're launching. And this is a course to do with helping parents, students, as well as maybe professionals on how to improve home learning through ChatGPT, right? So that's the course that we're going to hopefully be launching very, very soon. And this was a webinar that we felt was needed so that we can give you an overview of that course, but also at the same time ask any questions that you may have, right? Now, let me ask you a simple question. So in the chat, please just type in, have you heard of ChatGPT? Yes or no? Have you heard of ChatGPT? Yeah. Okay, so you have. Okay, many of you have heard of ChatGPT. Very, very good. Okay. Yeah, mashallah, every one of you has heard. Okay, good. Good. So ChatGPT has completely revolutionized a lot and many sectors. It has revolutionized the tech sector. It has revolutionized even the education sector, right? Such that it is now even raising questions for job security. What is the job market like for the next decade, right? Or even the next 2, 3 decades? The reason why ChatGPT became very famous is because it can perform human-like functions and operations. So if you ever used ChatGPT, you can sign up for free. There's a free version and there's a paid version. And it sounds like as if you have a personal AI assistant in front of you. It's a very unique and remarkable tool. And when it came out, automatically we saw that Google, fired several thousand employees because they felt now ChatGPT could do the job. ChatGPT can also do stuff like the bar exam. So when you do the exam for becoming a lawyer, it can already pass that. It can already pass the exam for medicine, right? So it's very good at synthesizing data recollection, being able to answer in a very, very human-like way. Now, ChatGPT came out in 2022, November, around that period, and it's already made several strides. And so ChatGPT is just one medium, but the whole AI industry has exploded. Have you seen some of these prompts for like videos and images that you can do with various other AI? Have you guys seen those? Where just by simply writing, you can generate an image now using stuff like Midjourney. With a certain prompt, you can generate an entire video, right? And so that's very, very very interesting. The reason why it's becoming such a disruptive technology, so this is a terminology that we use in the field, it's a disruptive technology precisely because a lot of the things that we thought were very specialized have now overnight almost become accessible to everyone, right? They've become accessible to everyone. And therefore, we will now have access to a kind of knowledge that we never had before, right? So just by typing, by asking it questions, you can get a whole host of information, right? Which is remarkable. It's very different to, your basic Google search engine. Google search engine is very static. You just type and just links come up. But now we are in a new phase. We're in a new era. Maybe you can call this, the next evolutionary step of humanity, so to speak. But we're kind of seeing this new era for humans at large. Now, some of you may be concerned. Did any of you link it to Terminator? Like, did any of you think of the Terminator when ChatGPT started becoming very famous? Any of you thought of, like, oh, these machines are going to now start coming right? So I believe it or not, I sat down with a few friends and scholars, and we actually talked about this kind of thing. Is ChatGPT going to become alive? Is there going to be like a Terminator, kind of thing? But khair, ChatGPT and AI in general, they offer a lot of opportunities as well as concerns, right? So we need to be cautious of both. What are the things that we can use ChatGPT for to elevate ourselves? And what should we be cautious against to make sure that we don't fall into certain problems? So if you think about human history, right? Let's go back to very early civilization. Most of the people, let's go back 2,000 years ago. How did they communicate ideas? What was the medium through which they communicated? Was it computers? Nope. Was it books? Nope. What was it? Not even letters. We're talking even before that, Doreen. Think even before that. What's the first thing that they used to communicate? Look at the what was the oral tradition. Very, very good, right? It was the oral tradition, right? So when you are in an oral tradition, there are a couple of things that emerge as important skill sets, yeah, when you're living in an oral culture. If you think about the Greeks, you had to choose or be your own representative in court, right? In 500 BC. If you look at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, right, what was the key thing? It was to do the eloquence. So the skill sets that you need to have, one was large memory. You should be able to kind of quote from the top of your head these, long litanies, poetries, stories, right? So emphasis on memory was key. On top of that, in order to come across as a very effective speaker, you had to have good eloquence, right? If you are a lame speaker, you will not grip the audience in front of you, right? So there was a lot of emphasis in the oral culture to talk with eloquence, be simple when you need to be simple, be complex when you need to be complex, and also at the same time have this emphasis on memory, right? That was like the first like wave of our history. Then we shifted from an oral culture to a what culture? Who can tell me? We shifted from an oral to what kind of culture, guys? What was that next big? The written culture. Very good, right? So in this written culture, particularly in this book arena, right, we started writing. Now, initially, writing was expensive, only the elite could do it. But once writing became widespread, so once paper production became widespread, once ink production became widespread, this became a common skill for the average man. It was no longer an elitist skill or what's it called, access. It was available to everybody. Now here the emphasis was being able to write really well, and there's a huge difference between writing well and speaking well. Have you ever come across people who speak really eloquently, but when you ask them to write on paper, their writing skill does not reflect how well they can speak? Have you ever come across that? Sometimes their writing is really dull. It's very, very dull, right? Now, why is this tradition so important? This traditional shift so important? Because when we started becoming a book culture, emphasis started becoming on how you can make ideas coherent on paper. And also, did you have to now memorize for so long if now that you have a book culture, right? No. Now you can outsource your memory. So that one of the things that we have with books is that we can outsource our information onto external hardware, so to speak. We can put it on external things, right? So for example, just today I was reading, I don't know if you guys can see this, Ibn Taymiyyah and the Attributes of God, right? So this material was in the mind of somebody, right? The material was in the mind of someone, yeah? So somebody deposited it. Now we copied this and shared it everywhere. Now all of us can read it. All of us can read it. So this is the power of the book culture. Now, what was the second shift? So we went from the oral shift to the book culture. What is the second shift we're seeing today? What is that second shift, or rather in the past few decades? We went from a book culture to a what culture? This should be very easy now. Digital. It's all about computation, right? Now it's all about computation, right? It's all about computation, being able to master computing skills. A lot of the high skill jobs now are involved with computing, which is where this ChatGPT arena comes in. So some people have predicted that this culture from books to computing was one kind of a shift, but we're also seeing now a specialized shift within the computing culture, and that is for the first time, perhaps, we have invented technology that can replicate human thought, right? That can replicate human thought, which is why AI is perhaps ushering us in a new era, perhaps, right? We'll see what the future holds. But just in a matter of 2 years, it is able to draw incredibly well. In a matter of 2 years, it is able to produce essays that if you put it in a scoring system at university, it can give you around, a second class, maybe perhaps a distinction, depending on how you prompt it and write it. Because I've experimented with it as well, right? It can pass distinction or semi-distinction at university level. Yeah. It is able to produce very sharp movies now already, just in the space of 2 years since ChatGPT came out. So what is the future going to be like? And this was the question that prompted the course that we are going to deliver. And here I wanted to kind of walk you through the course that we have, and then you can even ask me some questions along the way, right? So let me first share my screen. Let me see if you can see this. 1 second. Bismillah. Okay, can everyone confirm just in the chat for me, please, that you can see something called Mastering ChatGPT and AI? You can see that? Yep. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Very good. So this course will be taught by myself and Ustad Amira. So she's from the US. What happened here? Right. She's from the US, and she is an expert on pedagogy. So how to educate, right? That's me. I will be teaching some parts of this course as well. So the course is, yeah, alhamdulillah, very good. So the course is, as far as I remember, 12 weeks long, right? And it goes through various kinds of things, yeah? We will introduce you to how AI can help you with homeschooling. Now, let me first kind of settle that point on homeschooling. How many of you, so let me actually ask you here, how many of you are parents? How many people do we, if you are a parent, say yes. If you are not a parent, say no in the chat. 1, 2, 3. If you're not a parent, Aisha, oh, wow, mashallah, wow, we have a lot of parents. Wow, okay, very good. Very, very good. Okay, wow, subhanallah. Okay, wow, good. Okay, almost everyone is a parent here. Okay, so I'm a parent as well. I'm a parent as well, right? So we have some common denominators there. Now, when it comes to parenthood, naturally, one of the questions you have to think about is, shall I send my child, depending on where you are, shall I send my child to public schooling, right? Very few of us can afford private school, if that, but generally it's public schooling, right? And now we are living in a place where a lot of ideologies are being presented at school. And naturally, as parents, you're concerned, correct? Or as parents, are you concerned about what your child experiences, in that environment? True or false? Yeah, just let me know in the chat. What do you guys think? Yeah, so naturally. So homeschooling has become slowly a very, very popular option, believe it or not. It's become very popular. I was even surprised while I was in the Middle East. We saw like very interesting statistics where, because, in the Middle East, it's a very affluent place, generally speaking, like in the UAE in particular. Like we have this culture of private tuition. So we hire private teachers. Like I was a private teacher for many, many families, right? So they have no problem paying for a private tutor. But even in that culture, so to speak, we saw statistics saying that in the Khaliji region, so the Khaliji meaning the Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, UAE, Bahrain, those countries, right? That in the Khaliji region, that we are already seeing a 17 to 27% increase in homeschooling, which is very surprising. In a culture where it's norm to pay for one-on-one private personal tutors, even there's now a shift towards homeschooling, not to send your kid to a schooling system. And so homeschooling represents both challenges and opportunities. Challenges are that one of the parents must take this on as a full-time job, right? Naturally, if you're going to take the responsibility of teaching your children now, one of you has to work and one of you has to focus on the kids. Correct? Right or wrong? You can tell me if you disagree in the chat. But that's the general strategy that I've seen with homeschoolers, at least with some of the families that I've engaged with, right? And when the person who has this task, naturally, particularly if they're not a teacher, they have a lot of things that they need to learn. They need to learn because they'll be encountering subjects that they've never come across, right? What we were when we were kids versus what the kids are learning now, Asman Sameen Faraq, man, it's a huge difference, right? So there's a learning curve involved. Now, here at this point, AI, ChatGPT can help significantly. And we feel these are optimal tools for these purposes, right? So that's why we thought, why not have a course that can help parents and students, maybe professionals, but it's mostly parents and students that can really benefit from that. So this course assumes that you have no background training in ChatGPT, right? That your technical skills are zero. So it doesn't assume that you know technicality to do with ChatGPT. So we slowly build you up bit by bit by bit, right? Now, the component that will be taught by the Sister Mera and maybe perhaps other instructors is things like how can you use ChatGPT to do things like devise a curriculum, right? You can actually prompt into ChatGPT to write a curriculum, right? You can ask it to analyze PDFs, right? You can use it to come up with lesson plans and even tests for you. We will be teaching you all of that, right? We'll be teaching all of that. There's even an option there where you can even ask it to do a constructive time plan. So you can give it all your appointments. It can devise a calendar for you. Very interesting. It's like having literally a personal AI assistant. Now, it can also even help you how to promote social skills and activities in the house, right? In the house. Now, to be clear, let me just kind of make sure I qualify what I mean by homeschooling. Homeschooling can be a kind of activity where it's just the family involved. So you've got the parents, maybe the extended family, but mainly the parents and the kids. So that's one kind of homeschooling model. Then there's another homeschooling model called the block family model, right? So the block homeschooling model. The block homeschooling model is, and you find this in, at least I've come across this only in the US. I haven't seen this elsewhere. I've seen this maybe in one or two places in the UAE, but it's rare. It's very rare. But block homeschooling is, so you have a group of families that live together in a certain area, right? And so one parent from each family takes on the responsibility of teaching the children something every day. So here you've distributed the responsibility across families. Does everyone see that difference between one family versus a group of families? That's called the block model because you usually live in a block together, which makes this very, very doable. If you don't live close together, homeschooling in this fashion becomes difficult. Does that make sense, everyone? Just yes or no in the chat. Just please let me know. If I've lost anyone, I will happily re-explain. Just a yes. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you got, yep. Okay. Very, very good. Excellent. Very, very good. Right. So given these two models, AI can help you significantly, regardless of which model you adopt, right? AI can help you. It can quickly develop lessons plan for you. Even if you don't know something, let's say, for example, you've never, okay, let me ask you, how many of you are STEM students? How many of you are STEM students? If you are a STEM student, type in yes. If you're not a STEM student, type in no. By STEM, I mean you have a STEM background, either science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. Do you have a STEM background? Okay, so we have a mix here. So we have some saying yes, some saying no. Okay, very good. Now, for the ones who are saying no, or even the ones who are saying yes, does it seem intimidating to teach your children science? Can it be intimidating? Like, you have to now teach your children physics. You have to teach your children chemistry, right? Particularly if they want to be engineering, if they want to be engineers, sorry, or if they want to go into medicine, it's very intimidating. Like, oh, ya Allah, what am I going to do? Right? Well, how am I going to achieve this? Yeah. And naturally, you also feel some kind of inferiority complex. Man, I'm not going to be able to do this. So you have a confidence hit. It even hits your confidence. ChatGPT can help you with that a lot. So it's for this reason why in part of this program, this is the part that I'll be teaching. We're going to go through various what's it called, lessons. So these are practical lessons. So we'll teach you the prompt, and then you do these in the block rooms, right? So here, for example, I'll be teaching how to teach STEM at home. So I teach both the sciences as well as the humanities. So mostly Aqidah, philosophy, that kind of stuff. And then I also teach physics, chemistry, math, and bio. I'm a private tutor for those subjects, right? And that's how I know the market so well, because I used to do a lot of tuition before. Even now, I still do tuition, but I know that the market is changing incredibly. And what we will do through this is I will show you that what may seem like a very difficult concept can become so easy to understand using ChatGPT, right? Very, very easy, right? So to be clear, I just want to make sure we manage expectations. This is fundamentally a 12-week course. That really is it. It's a 12-week course. So 3 months, yeah? We are planning to do this course so that you have now more know-how about how to use AI, how to become more informed of AI. Will this address every single point? Not necessarily, but at least it will give you better insight. And then hopefully through your feedback and maybe through some of the things that you'd want to do, perhaps we can launch other more specialized courses down the line, right? So maybe, for example, how do you use AI to teach biology? Like having a dedicated course on that. How to maybe use AI to teach physics, and we can have a dedicated course on that, right? So we do have a long-term plan here, but first of all, we just want to use this as a baseline to see where everyone else is, and then build everyone up together. Does that help? Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah, is that cool? Just a yes or no in the chat for me. Yeah, very good, very, very good. So there's more details here that you can kind of read up on your own time. I think somebody has shared the link in the Zoom chat for you. And yeah, so I wanted to just kind of give you an overview of what motivated this course, why this course is very important, what are the changes happening in the education market, right? And how we can kind of use AI to our advantage. I remember, did any of you do the course that we had before on homeschooling? We had a 16-week course, I think a couple of months ago on homeschooling at Balagh Academy. Did any of you attend that? Yes, some of you did attend that, right? For those of you who attended it, in my session, I talked about how to use AI. Do you guys remember how to use ChatGPT? Did any of you remember that? If you did that course. So from there, we decided to kind of expand this a little bit more. And you can even use, by the way, ChatGPT. You can talk to it as a real person. In fact, let me do it again to show you everyone. Let's see here. Okay. Hey, Assalamualaikum ChatGPT. I'm here with some students who are attending a webinar on AI and homeschooling. Can you introduce yourself? Because for some of them, this is the first time that they're seeing this interaction. What's happening here? 1 second. Oh, my internet. Oh, just 1 second. Okay. Right. Okay. Hello, AI. Are you awake?
Hello. Yes, I'm here and ready to help. How can I assist you today?
I'm currently teaching an online webinar on AI and homeschooling. Can you introduce yourself to the students here?
That sounds great. What specific topics or questions are you covering in your webinar? Maybe we can provide some useful information or examples for you.
Yeah, so the webinar is about how we can use stuff like ChatGPT for homeschooling that can help parents. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. ChatGPT can be a fantastic tool for homeschooling in several ways. It can help with 1. Homework assistance. ChatGPT can explain concepts, solve problems, and provide detailed answers to questions in subjects like math, science, history, and language arts. 2. Writing and editing. It can assist students in writing essays, stories, and reports, and help with editing and improving their writing. 3. Language learning. ChatGPT can help with learning new languages by providing translations, grammar explanations, and conversation practice. 4. Research. It can help students find and understand information on various topics, making research projects easier and more comprehensive. 5. Customized learning. ChatGPT can tailor explanations and learning materials to the student's level and pace, making learning more personalized. 6. Engagement. It can provide interactive learning experiences through quizzes, games, and other engaging activities. Using ChatGPT can make homeschooling more effective and enjoyable for both parents and students.
Thank you so much. Can you please say goodbye to everyone in the webinar?
Of course. Goodbye, everyone. It was great being a part of your webinar. Feel free to use AI tools like ChatGPT to enhance your homeschooling experience. Have a wonderful day and happy learning.
Can you also say goodbye in Arabic and in Urdu? Because we have some participants who speak both languages.
Sure. In Arabic, مع السلامة جميعا. أعطي لكم يوما رائعا وسعيدا. In Urdu, الوداع सबको. आपका दिन अच्छा गुजरे और खुशी से पढ़ाई करें.
Can you also do it in Bengali? We've had one request to do it in Bengali.
Of course. বিদায় সবাইকে. আপনার দিনটি ভালো কাটুক এবং শেখার আনন্দে ভরপুর থাকুক.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Impressive? Wasn't that impressive, guys? This is the future. That is the future. You will have access to that. Everyone here has access to that, right? So you can use ChatGPT to do a lot of things, is what I'm saying. The potential to unlock your strengths has radically become much more doable, radically, right? So I've seen people use, by the way, so I don't know if you guys can see here, but it actually shows everything in the languages. So, you know, when I asked it to do Arabic, it writes in Arabic. So it transcribes everything as well. So the point that I wanted to kind of make through that demonstration was simply this. ChatGPT is really going to, AI generally is going to change the way we think, we do things, the way we even teach. You know, Khan Academy, for those of you who don't know, is one of the largest. Yes, it was ChatGPT, Adam. This was literally ChatGPT. I didn't use anything else, right? So Khan Academy is the largest teaching platform in the world. They have already started integrating ChatGPT and AI into it so that now each child's learning is customized. It's personalized, right? And so this blanket general model that one size fits all is going to slowly fade away. And I think this will give more empowerment to parents, to educators, and even to students. Now, this doesn't mean that even though there are opportunities, there are negatives as well, right? So I've seen students unfortunately cheat using ChatGPT. One of the biggest concerns that we have as teachers is handing in assignments that are written by ChatGPT. You see? So if students now get accustomed to the behavior of getting ChatGPT to do everything, there's a danger involved with, well, what are we then assessing students on if we cannot detect that there's been ChatGPT? Because as these things get better and better and better, right, they become less and less detectable. Naturally, right? Because you can even ask ChatGPT to write, such that you will get a B grade. So it intentionally induces mistakes into in the assignment. You can even ask it to write a distinctive essay, so it looks very polished, right? So those are some challenges which hopefully we'll try and talk about in the course. That's it from my side. I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of what this webinar is all about, why we have this course. I'll hand it over to you for any questions. Please feel free to ask any questions if you have any. Yes, Durain, that's another one, right? So ChatGPT is amazing, but it has problems because of its information base. But Durain, this is, remember, if you think of the ChatGPT as a child, right now, every day it gets better and better and better. So this is the worst it'll ever be. 24 hours later, it will know what its mistakes were in the past 24 hours. It is literally behaving like a child. The development is like a child. It makes mistakes and it goes better and better and better and better over time. And apparently ChatGPT 5 is 100 times stronger than ChatGPT 4. So what its capabilities are, I am waiting to see. Personally, I'm waiting to see. I am personally an optimist about ChatGPT. I think it can bring a lot of khair, but we need to discipline ourselves on how to use it. That's where I think the concern is. Madiha, yes, so we interestingly, my wife and I, we were actually talking about, we live in a culture where a lot of books have been converted into movies, right? So I was in a culture where I would read a lot of fiction books. So one of the books I used to read a lot when I was a child was Harry Potter. Do you guys read Harry Potter, or any Harry Potter fans here? Just a yes or no in the chat. Have you guys read Harry Potter? Yeah. So J.K. Rowling, yeah, there you go, right? Now we were just, because me and my wife, both of us are readers. We read a lot. And so me and her, we're the same age, so we have the same literally brain space in terms of, the development of technology. And we were just talking that we first read the books. We first read the books before the movies came out. So we imagined how this character could look like, how that character could look like, and we were able to share ideas. Particularly when we got married, we were discussing those. Now, in this post-movie of the books culture, right? I cannot think of a character other than what the movie presented for me. You see? So it feels like the movie kind of earned the thinking or the creativity for me. There's a danger that AI could do that as well. So AI could, for example, rather than allowing you to think on your own feet, it may create a dependency on it because you are relying on it now too much. There could be a danger of that, where, on how Jannah and Jahannam will look like. Maybe, I mean, I haven't seen that, but that's very interesting. That's very, very interesting, right? But I can see various things that can come to the fore. A very interesting question that we're exploring in academia and also in Madaris is, stuff like, can ChatGPT ever have consciousness, right? What do we mean by consciousness? Right? A very simple definition is Alan Turing's definition, which is if it behaves, simulates like a real person and virtually indistinguishable, then you can say it's conscious, right? It's passed the Turing test. Yeah. So there are all kinds of things that are coming to the fore. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? Feel free to ask anything. Feel free to ask anything. This is really the space for you to ask away. Okay, so can homeschooling impact child's chance of getting to college or vocational programs? And how can homeschool children build a professional network? Right. Okay. So Durain, this is where I personally feel homeschooling just as a family versus block homeschooling or co-opt. I think somebody mentioned co-opt learning. I think that was the name given by somebody. Makes a difference. If you have a community through which you are sharing the teaching through homeschooling, then the social skills doesn't become a problem, so to speak. But if your children are now doing it just strictly through you, the only interactions or most interactions are with you and them, that's it, and with each other. That may be good because then you want to shield them from all kinds of influences. But when they leave the nest, they need to know how to deal with the real world, right? So there's a danger here of over insulating or over shielding such that you can make them, perhaps not necessarily, incapable of dealing with the real world, right? And that's the other danger, that if you shield too much, you will not be able to allow them to really deal with the reality on their own two feet. So you've got to have a balance here. So I know that because I attended the homeschooling course that Al Balagh did last time, and there were some interesting tips that people were sharing that I saw other teachers were mentioning in their sessions. So one of them said was that they would put their kids in these like activities like horse riding or archery, and naturally through there they would build up connections, right? The kids would meet other kids, right? Because apparently, more and more Muslims want to do homeschooling naturally, particularly in places like, I mean, my reference points are the Middle East, UK, and US. That's the reason why I'm focusing on those. So please don't criticize me for not, knowing about others. It's just those are the ones that I'm really familiar with. So in the US and the UK in particular, homeschooling is becoming more popular. And naturally, if you want to help each other, you do shared activities, right? You do collective activities. So if one parent is doing horse riding, maybe another parent can join them, another family can join them. And this way, what was once becoming an independent project is now becoming a collective project, right? So perhaps through there, the social skills can be developed, right? So that's definitely an outlet for that. As for the chance of getting into college or vocation programs, I don't think that matters, Doreen, right? Precisely because, just think about it, right? There's two things that I want to say here. Number one, when we think about university applications or college applications, first and foremost, it's the grades, right? So if you do really well, then, whether you do it through homeschooling or whatever, that's fine. Your extracurricular activities, however, can be very different because if you're in a school, extracurricular is whatever the school offers you. But at homeschooling, it's whatever you want to do, right? There are some amazing, interesting things that I've seen parents do. For example, they'll send their kids and work shadow doctors, like, family members that they know or colleagues that they know, 15-year-olds, just going around seeing how doctors work, right? So there's a lot of room for creativity here. There's a lot of room for thinking, very well about how to engage your child. Like, for example, my son, I'm not so sure. I don't like to forecast the future. I come from an engineering background. I'm very philosophical. My brain is philosophical, right? It's very clear to me that he does not like math, right? So my son does not like math, right? He's not a big fan of it. So it's not that he's bad at it. It's just, it's not his thing. He's actually very, very good at languages, very good at languages. So he's learned German, Farsi, Urdu, Arabic, not fluently. I'm just talking about he's familiar with those, right? So he's a language guy and he's an arts guy. So he likes to draw. So we get him several books, and through books, he likes to make characters. So he draws, he animates, right? And so he likes stuff like galleries and all of that kind of stuff, right? So for him, if that really is his interest, and it's still maybe a little bit too early, but if that's his interest, then what I would do is I would then cater those talents by taking him to national museums, to natural, sceneries, to book clubs, etc. That's where I'd hone those skills for that child in particular, right? So parents need to have a very hands-on approach. They really need to have a hands-on approach in how to make sure that their skills are being honed, right? We usually rely on the school for that. And I know why people do that. It's easy, right? It's very, very easy. And actually, look, the, considering traditional, roles, man working, woman at home, right? Even though that's not necessarily the case, but I'm just saying traditional roles, the mother's tired, right? The father's tired, right? And then to come home after school and then to do further work, it's not easy. It practically speaking, it's very hard. There's only so much attention that you can give, right? So that's why homeschooling may become more of a popular option over time, because one, it allows you to control what you're teaching to your children. Also, two, you can give them the opportunity to explore at home in a safe environment. It requires, however, unless you're filthy rich, unless you're super, super rich, it requires one family member to work full-time and one family member to really, stay home and knuckle down. That really is it, right? That it requires that. It would be very wrong of me to say that both parents can work and do this. I don't think that's the case. I think it'll be super difficult. It's very, very difficult. I'm saying practically. Theoretically, we can talk about whatever. Up in the air, abstract reality is whatever. Anything goes. In reality, however, considering human effort, considering human time limitations, it's hard. It's very, very hard, right? I'm saying this as a father. It's hard. It's very hard. But I don't know if that addressed your question, Doreen. Fatma Doha is like now we type and it makes us for how to spell. Yes, Fatma. Well, thank God. I mean, like for me personally, I think I'm maybe from the last generation of where writing is still used. So I still write. I still write. Yeah. I haven't lost it because I write in books. So I don't know. I can show you here maybe. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys can see that. So can you guys see that? Oh, 1 second, right? So here you are. 1 second. Here. So I still write. I still write on like marginalia. I still do that. So I haven't like kind of lost that tactic. For me, it's not been a thing, but it depends on what you're constantly doing. What is in the daily practice, right? Who has accountability in that vein? Maybe I lost context there. Will we go over different Islamic views, Fatma? So Fatma, when you say different Islamic views on the use of, as in like whether it's haram, halal, is that what you're asking me, Fatma? If that's the case, I'm not so sure. Maybe we can have a session for that. But generally, I think that AI is like a tool, right? It's like a knife. You can use knife for good. You can use knife for bad, right? Depends on the niyyah and the action that comes out of it. So that you can have a range of things coming into the fore. Is there a limit on what knowledge it can share into what government secrets? So Tariq, I can imagine that there are various AI models out there, right? Some are customized for personal programs like governmental programs, some are for the public, right? But who knows what the limits of future AI could be, right? Just like people have been able to hack into the Pentagon, right? I have no problem foreseeing that people can develop very strong AIs that can infiltrate governmental security systems. It's not like impossible for me to conceive of that. The problem that I have is finding an Islamic homeschool or that provides the courses for older children. Maryam, that really is a concern, right? That really is a concern. In fact, I was actually talking to Al Balagh Academy. This is me kind of being honest with everyone here, right? So I teach the sciences. I teach physics, chemistry, math. So I teach a SEM all the way from low grade to high school to university, right? And I was thinking that there could be a way. So in the UK system, we have the high school program is called the A levels, right? So you have GCSE, then you have A levels. So I have taught all of the STEM A levels, right? So there was once, so let me give you some insight. There was so with A levels, you don't need to do 2 years. Interestingly, you really don't, right? This 2-year business is only if you have this wide scale, teaching large students at a time mentality. Because you can do A-level examinations through the British Embassy, right? You can actually take your child out of school and do private learning and then just apply for the exam. So there's one girl, I taught her physics, chemistry, math, each one 1 month, a 2-year syllabus, each one in 1 month. She was a hardworking girl. To be clear, she was a hardworking girl. So in the summer, so what was it? I forgot, May, June, July, something like that, right? She applied for the exams through the British consulate in Dubai. I think it was in November. She got good grades. She went to uni. 3 months. That was it. Right? So AI and ChatGPT can really, I think, redefine a lot of things for us. But the reason why I'm sharing that is because what we wanted to do initially, I had this project at the back of my mind. If I hadn't gotten this job at Edinburgh, so I'm a professor of science and religion at the University of Edinburgh now, but if I hadn't gotten this job, I was going to start my own academy where we would go through physics, chemistry, math, bio, one subject each day. Then on the 5th day, Islamic sciences. And we would do this over a period of 2 years so that by the end of this, they would know this. This is only for STEM students. I don't teach history. I don't teach geography. I don't teach accounting. Not that they're irrelevant. It's just that that's not my forte. So the plan was to kind of have all the STEM subjects being taught for A levels online, as well as Islamic studies proper. So you study Aqidah, you study your basic every farda'in that you need to know. So by the end of that 2-year program, your child is now, boom, robust, right? That was a 2-year project that I had in mind. But it's no longer happening now. But that was something that I wanted to do, because what you said here, the idea of finding an Islamic homeschooling program that provides all the course of study for older children in particular, that is a concern everywhere. That is really a concern everywhere. That is a concern I've seen in the UAE. That is a concern I've seen in the UK. That is a concern I've seen in the US. That is a concern everywhere. Shumel is asking for your experience, is it better to define a curriculum for our children and to help them be at par with public school, or let them grow through a self-determined? So Shumela, so remember, every country has its own standards. Yes. So given that each country has its own standards, you have to eventually meet them. You have to eventually meet them, right? You've got to be able to match. Otherwise, your kids may not end up at university, right? You have to be able to do that. And as a result of that, you need to be informed by how you devise your curriculum based on those standards. So if you want to do an entrance test for a medical exam, right, for becoming a doctor, if you don't know the material, you can apply for it. So I think that to some extent, you have to model the public school. Of course, you can temper with it. There's no doubt about it. But you have to definitely model the standards that are given to you. Let me know if that addressed your question or not, Shamela. Wa alaikum salam. I'm presently in transit and my notes are to go. Yes, the network, the recording will be sent to everyone. I assume so. Does ChatGPT use that are found on Google? Is there a possibility of getting false information? Yes. So, Maham, of course, this technology is still a new technology, right? And it makes mistakes, right? So ChatGPT 3 made many more mistakes. ChatGPT 4 is much, much better, way, way better, right? So, like I said, just it's treated just like a child. It is literally like a child. It will make mistakes, but it's becoming exponentially better day by day by day by day, right? So, unless you are a subject expert, you may not be able to detect the mistakes it might be making, right? So that's why it's always important to consult with experts around you. Especially in these times, choose free. I agree 100%. Can you recommend any free for supplementing the normal school? The affordable tools for me would definitely be AI would be one of them, 100%. I think that investing in AI, coding is really key. I strongly recommend that parents invest in coding for their children. It's so important as a skill set. Coding is super, super, super important. Just because like I said, I don't think Muslims are even understanding the kind of shift that we're going to see in the next 10, 20 decades. We're talking about radical shifts. It's a very, very disruptive technology. We will soon have AI doing diagnostics for you. We will soon have AI doing X-ray scans for you, right? Everything that you can imagine will be radically shifting in the next 10, 20 years. So staying on top of coding, this is my prediction. I may be completely wrong. This is my prediction as somebody who's in academia, who is in education. This is the trend that I see, right? I may be wrong. This is just my forecast. So take that with a pinch of salt if you want to. But that's how I feel the future is going to go. In addition to AI, I would say really the real thing is human engagement, right? You need to be able to engage your child. We teach our children very passively. We plonk them in front of the computer. We plonk them in front of a book. But engaging with children is very, very important. Active learning is very, very important. I know it's so hard to do. I know it's very hard. As a parent, it's hard. When you finish, 9 to 5, either you're at home or if you're at work, you're like tired, you want to get rest. But it's having that engagement with children is super important, right? And your children will surprise you. My own child has surprised me so many times. He gives me responses I just do not expect. Like he's really thinking, right? So you have to constantly kind of see where your daughter or your son is going and really engage them all the time. You have to be constantly be in close connectivity, right? It's very important. That parental connection is key. You don't have it, then you need to work on it. It's very, very key, right? You have to have such a strong bond with your children that in the future, whatever they do, they will need to come to you for advice. Make sure you have such a strong bond with them. That family connection is really important. What should we do if we wish to apply to teach to remotely, Hafsa, remotely with Balagh? Here, speak to the admin, Hafsa. The admin members are in the group. Thank you. Recording a seminar. Further to the earlier question, does ChatGPT already have a library of the public curriculum at its various stages? So Shumela, you can actually copy paste curriculum and put it in there even if it's not in its database, right? So you can do that. You can do that. We'll go over that inshallah through the course. But let's say you want it to develop a curriculum, and that curriculum is something that is not in its database. You go to the website, feed it in, you just copy paste, and it will just start analyzing it and generating ideas for you. What are your thoughts on Khan Academy? It is run by AI in the US and is supported by Purdue University. I personally think, Mariam, it's a good tool, right? It's a very, very good tool, right? And take what you find good from it, leave what you think is bad from it. It's a tool. Treat it as a tool. I think I did that, but I received no response. Can I have yes? So Sister Hafsa, so I think somebody's reached out to you. I think just Munisbai is there. Just reach out to him, inshallah. Right? So I don't see any more questions. Yeah, I'm not seeing any more questions. Right. Thank you for attending the seminar for today. I really hope that oh, hang on, we have another one here. Could you provide details about the examination for this course? Will there be a project? So Doreen, this is a very practical course in the sense that we'll teach you one skill in the class, and then there'll be breakout rooms so you can do it yourself, right? So it'll be very coach based. So I don't think this is necessarily driven for examination. This is more driven for installation of practice, right? But those details we'll see. Maybe there might be an exam that we could do, but I'm personally I see this more as a practice-based course than an examination-based course, right? Let me know if I answer your question, Lorraine. Fatma says, looking forward to homeschooling level 2. Also wanted to add this course will give an idea of setting curriculums or it will. It will. So how do you devise curriculums? I think that's one of the subjects here. 1 second. Let me go over. I'm 100% sure that curriculum development is here somewhere. I am. Where is it? I know that there is something. Yeah. Developing a comprehensive curriculum. It's actually lesson 2. Right. So it's there. We will help you with that, inshallah. Yeah. Any other questions? If there are no questions, type in no, because I don't want to preemptively cancel the webinar. Any questions? No. No. The rest of the folks? No. Okay. Okay. So I'm assuming no. No. Okay. Very good. Right. Okay. Barakallahu fikum. All right. Everyone, thank you so much for attending. Shamela, I think the cost is here. Let me check. 1 second. Where is it? Yes. So it's the whole cost is 60 quid, and you can pay in 4 installments, 15 quid. So you can pay in 4 installments, right? So that'll add up to 60 quid. We have scholarships as well, inshallah. So if you wanted to utilize scholarships, you can do that. Right. Barakallahu feekum, everyone. I hope that this was helpful. Please forgive me if it wasn't. Like I said, this is just meant to be an overview of where Al-Balagh Academy is coming from, what is the thought process behind this program, and just, addressing a need. We, as a Muslim community, we are trying to address needs, right? I'm a parent. I'm concerned where education is going. And I think everyone needs to, try their best in navigating this space. And if we can create a course that can help parents with homeschooling, then that's very, very good. I've been asked by admin that if you see a poll, please fill in the poll questions if you have not already done it. That information is very, very helpful for us. So please do that if you haven't done that, right? Please do that. Right. How do we apply for scholarships? So I think it's there. I think you can already apply here. Al-Balagh scholarship there. So you can learn more and apply. There, that's where you go, Miriam. Yeah? Alhamdulillah. Good. Very, very good. Okay. Thank you very much, Shabab. I hope that you enjoy that. And if you do sign up for the course, I will the WhatsApp number I can reach for exclusive with coupon. Mashallah. Alhamdulillah, Sidi. Alhamdulillah. Pray for Al-Balagh. Like I said, they're doing their best. They're doing their best to address contemporary needs in light of the Islamic tradition. So do pray for Al-Balagh Academy. They're doing good work. Right? Yalla. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. You have a wonderful day. Thank you for attending the session. And if you sign up for the course, I will see you there and then, inshallah. And if not there, whenever Allah wills. Take it. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum. Have a good day. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.